Welcome back to the Your Girl Yaz podcast, the podcast to listen to if you're a female entrepreneur who's ready to attract more fun, more money, success, friendships, and amazing clients into your business. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope I can add some more positivity into your day in this episode. Hello, guys. Welcome back to a very special episode on the Your Girl Yaz podcast. Today, I have the beautiful Sinead Hegarty on the podcast. So welcome, Sinead.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So excited. To start the episode, guys, I have wrote Sinead a little letter and then we will introduce her and we'll have a beautiful episode together. So I'm just going to read the letter because when I was writing this, I was like, oh my gosh, it really sort of shares so much around Sinead and her journey in my journey. So I'm just going to start. So the letter says, Dear Sinead, I wanted to start the episode by saying thank you. Thank you for being the big sister that I never had from such a young age on your podcast and social media. Thank you for inspiring me and so many other girls to go live their lives to the fullest. Thank you for being your authentic self and spreading so much kindness in the world. Thank you for making me feel safe to be my crazy, authentic self rather than the clean girl aesthetic. Thank you for inspiring me to do the courses, start the podcast, travel the world, and post whatever I want online. Thank you for spreading so much light around mental health, physical health, and wellness. I'm so grateful my 20-year-old self found your Instagram and your podcast at a time I really needed a big sister figure the most. You have come on a big journey with me through lockdown, through times when I really didn't like myself and my body. And you've come on a journey with the girl who really wanted to travel the world. You helped me believe that I could start my own podcast, inspired me to always carry on doing everything with kindness and from a place of love. And whilst now I have made it to an amazing position in myself, that younger version of me is forever grateful for you. When I hear your name, see your posts, or listen to your podcasts, I deeply smile. You've been such a beautiful part of my journey to creating a life and an inner relationship I'm forever grateful for. I do feel like you have saved me and so many girls in so many ways, more than you could ever know. So thank you, and I can't wait for all the listeners to hear all about you and your inspiring story. Today is about you. It's about all other girls getting to experience the magic you bring in life and business, and I can't wait to jump in.
Oh my God, I really didn't expect that. Oh my God, thank you so much. Honestly, like sometimes I always think that's like a little push from the universe because sometimes you're just going about in life and you just don't know what you're doing sometimes, and then sometimes I'll just get a message from someone or you'll get something and you're like, God, that person could be thinking that, but they never actually send it. And one day they just say it or send it, and then I always feel like that's just like a little push from the universe to keep going and keep doing what you're doing. Oh my God, thank you so much. I don't even know what to say. I'm just like, God, that is exactly what I would wish for what I'm doing, through my podcast, through everything that I do, is just that whole thing that you just said. There's nothing more than that. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I didn't want to overwhelm you, but I just feel like it's so nice to actually sort of share the part that you've played in maybe my life as well and a lot of other girls, because I just can't wait to dive in. But at the same time, you've had such an impact on my journey. And I was like, I just really want to share that because it's been so special. When growing up, you don't maybe have a big sister figure, or there's so much out there that's pulling you in different directions. And I'm such a little free spirit hippie, and I just sort of didn't want to do the sort of 9 to 5. And you were just such an amazing role model for that. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. God, that was just so moving. I can't cope. You're going to have to send me that clip so I can keep that for my own socials because that was so good. Thank you.
Of course. And I can imagine, being at the stage now that is so much in your life and so much going on. So it would be really nice for you to sort of share where you're at, like a little bit about you and your story. That would be fabulous.
Oh, you look like you're in the middle of my story as well. Like you're in Bali. So I'm like, oh. So my journey, I think, when it comes to, you know, like how you probably found me and stuff, it probably was where you're sitting right now, maybe in Bali or in Thailand or something like that. Because I started my journey on maybe 2019, and I just went traveling on my own. Like I just went through a really hard breakup. My boyfriend had cheated on me, and you know, I'd like at that point in my life, I was obviously a very anxious attachment type, and I was just like, you know, lost without love and validation from another human. And like that, he felt like that felt like the biggest heartbreak ever, but it really wasn't even about him. It was about how I felt about myself.
Mhm.
Because like sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish people like understood that it was never about him. You know, it was always about like how, like it could have been any man at that point that would have broke me, because the way I felt about myself and my self-worth was just really low. Um,
Mhm.
but then obviously went through like a really downward spiral after that, of like mental health and just overall just putting on this fake front, and you know, traveled around, like distracted myself for a while, like drank the shots of tequila, the buckets of whatever, and then like obviously landed in Australia and just kind of got hit with like a big bang, because coming to Australia isn't like traveling Thailand, Bali, because like people are in the real life and it's very different. So you're kind of left to your own devices and you have to like sort of find your feet, and with no tools to deal with anything, whether it be heartbreak, being broke, getting rejected in all shapes or form. I didn't have any tools to deal with any sort of hardships in life. And that's obviously when I went and found the tools myself, and I studied many things since those days. But I would say like human behavior probably was like my main focus back then, and like emotional regulation and understanding our emotions and stuff like that. So once I started understanding that there is tools to deal with it, I just could not believe it. I just wanted to shout it from the rooftops, because I just never wanted anyone to be in the position that I was in, where I didn't really want to be on this earth. Um, and that's usually like the people that you see shouting and screaming for things like mental health are usually the people that have seen the darkest corners of their mind and fought that. And they just don't want anyone else to feel like that. So it's like, you know, it's always been what I've wanted to do. So then following that, that was just my journey. I just kept going and learning and, you know, struggling along the way, but just eventually just found my feet and found my purpose and found my way of doing life, which I absolutely love. And you know, life has its ups and downs, but I've just know that I can just do anything in the world now, because you know I have my mindset, which is something that like I teach to people on my podcast as well. Um, and then like you know, I obviously began my business, which is the Braveway, and it's obviously a meditation platform, a wellness platform. It's like a portal into all these different versions of yourself that you can uncover through meditation, and we have just all these different sections and all these different um we just have everything in there now. Like honestly, I'm so proud of what we've created and what we're doing and what's excited for what's to come. But I don't know, like I don't even know what to say about my journey. What are you like? I'm like, I don't is that it? Is there more? There's lots, but you know, we got
It
there,
is
we
so
get there.
hard, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's been, you know, like I'm nearly 25 now, so years and years of, you know, listening to your journey and hearing everything from a listener perspective. It is just, oh sorry, there's a motorbike there. Bali life.
I know.
It's just crazy, isn't it? Just how much of a journey you can go on. And I would say I wanted to actually talk about the authenticity piece that you bring into it there, of like, how do you feel like through every different chapter you've been on, you have managed to stay true to yourself?
I feel like I don't really like it's crazy because you know, I didn't really realize that, you know, until years later, where people are like, oh, but you're so authentic or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like I was just myself, and I just wanted. I guess I was sick of what I was seeing. You know, like looking at people's perfect lives, like having this perfect lifestyle, and I actually think it was just the first day that I actually sat down on my Instagram and was like, "This is what I'm going through. I'm so sick of just putting on this front to pretend I'm okay. Like I'm actually having a really hard time." And like I think like being met with like support and people relating to me, and them us talking to each other back and forward, like it just gave me so much hope and gave me so much drive to just constantly be myself. But I don't know any other way, to be honest, because
Yeah.
like I even remember like going to Dublin and going to this event, and obviously I'm from the country in Ireland, so I come up to Dublin And this person goes, Jesus, you're some doll coming in that van. Like, I can't believe you get into that van and put it on your story. Like, this is my dad's van. And I'm like, what do you mean? I've been driving that van all my life. So like, obviously, like, my life has always felt authentic, but obviously then if I'm chatting on my camera and I'm driving my dad's van and like all the rest of the bloggers and influencers are like, you know, on yachts, like it just felt obviously very different because everyone was trying to portray something, whereas I just felt like I was just being normal, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, and then like I just feel like I don't really know any other way. And honestly, people really meet you where you're at when you're your authentic self, and they can really connect with you and share with you. And when if you ever meet me in real life, it's so funny because like there's things that, you know, people share and people don't share. Like I want to share everything because I'm an open book. Like I go to my book club and
Yeah.
Sam's going, "Are you telling them that?" And I go, "Yes, I am." I tell them I don't tell them those things, but I can't help it. Like I'm like an open book. Like it's like I know that if I share something, it might help someone, or if like they might be able to relate. Like even in our book club, we have like weekly wins and weekly struggles. We say the same thing every week, and everyone's like, "Well, why would you do a weekly struggle if you want gratitude?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because knowing you're not alone in your struggles is really important too." You know, like you could say like, "Oh, I'm really struggling with like, I'm really homesick, blah, blah, blah." And then someone could look, me too. And then, you know, it is hard and like I'm really struggling and I don't know if this is for me. And then they start talking, and it's really important to just hear people's real life stories so that you can feel not alone, I guess. Um, but yeah, sometimes I don't even know I'm doing it.
And it's just so nice to hear because it's getting worse now. Like, I do mindset coaching with all girls that run businesses, and everyone is struggling with imposter syndrome, confidence in themselves, comparing themselves to everyone else, and just constantly making themselves feel like they're not good enough. And it is that pressure. Like, I just really try to make things as fun as possible and teach everyone, like, honestly, the more you live your life, the more you go do stupid things. Like, I've been traveling on my own, so I've been doing rejection therapy, and the other
Yeah.
day I said to myself, oh, there were some boys playing frisbee in the sea, and I was like, you won't go play frisbee with them. And I was like, you just got to do it now. And just doing stupid things to really just embrace and get out your comfort zone and have fun. What advice would you give to people that feel like maybe they are struggling with their confidence and the imposter syndrome?
I actually love that you did rejection therapy, that you do it. I do it all the time as well. Like I just put myself, I used to always just hide away because I was a really nervous speaker and stuff like that. But even just when I was wanting to do more speaking, like in therapy, they'd be like, go to things and put your hand up and ask questions. And I used to be petrified of that. And like
Yeah.
I used to like not be able to do that. And then the more I did it, and also like doing karaoke, it's another form of helping you with your public speaking. Because obviously if you're a shit singer and you're gonna be shit and everyone's gonna judge you for being shit, then obviously that's gonna help you get on stage. And you have to realize that like when you get on stage, like do you ever go to in a talk and like you don't really know the person, but like you don't really like the talk that much. It didn't actually matter that you didn't like and that's why like you think, oh my god, everyone's gonna think I'm shit, and then everyone like it doesn't matter. Sometimes people just don't connect with what you're saying, and that's actually okay too. So it's a bit of rejection therapy as well. Like I'm obsessed with rejection therapy. I try my best to just put myself. I chat to everybody on the street. I chat to like people like she's fucking crazy, but I love it. But imposter syndrome, like my favorite thing for imposter system is, you know, for example, like you are a coach for businesses, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think you can help another person in that field?
10.
Oh, 10. Usually we get sevens. Usually we get 7 and 8s. Like that's usually like the number that we get. And then I
That
would
just
say,
came
so
out.
yeah, fucking own it. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Go for it. I would say 10 now, but if you would have asked me a few years ago, I would have been like, oh, 6, 7. I'm like 10, 100%. Let's rock. You know, you're more confident in yourself. But yeah, usually people say 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going, well, a person is at 2 of your knowledge. Why are you being selfish and not helping them with your knowledge? You know, like you have to remember that
Exactly.
keeping your
Yeah.
gift inside is selfish, as I always say. It's like, don't be selfish. Share your gift. Share what you. The only thing what are we really scared of? We're scared. Sorry, there's a really Northern Irish accent there. Really scared
I
of
love it.
people's judgment. We're scared of like most of the things. There's 3 things that people are scared of, right? Usually, it's scared of people's judgment, scared of failure, and scared of losing money. That's usually like the main 3 things. But if you examine those 3 things, like as someone who's living in Bali, like that's obviously where I got a lot of my money mindset from, having absolutely no money and actually on like feeding your mindset and feeding your mind and feeling abundant with nothing and having nothing is so important, because we were afraid to lose money in business, we're afraid to invest, pay money for things, whatever. But like realistically, like when you've had nothing and you realize that you're okay without it, you're going to be fine, then obviously you can move forward and you can take those risks. If you have a fear of people's judgment, like if you actually examine people's judgment, like they're going to judge anyway. Because I always say, you know, living on Instagram, there's like these I don't know if you get this, but I get it a lot where people are meant to send it to their friend, but they send it to you and then they're talking about you. So we get that.
Yeah.
I get that a lot. And like, you sometimes don't do things because you're afraid of someone's judgment. Like you don't put up the post, you don't speak on your story, you don't speak about that topic because maybe you're not like well versed on that topic or whatever. So we just kind of keep it in. But like, because you're scared people are going to judge you or whatever. But realistically, all you're trying to do is help and you have good intentions. So when you put something out there and someone, I like what I say is that I was going to a wedding once with my partner and he was not matching and we were not matching, and someone was like, oh my god, look how clashing they are, so bad. And it was something I was like, oh my gosh, right, I'm gonna take this on board. I matched the next time. I was like, match my outfit, we are completely matched, let's go. And then someone wrote and did the same thing and was just like, oh my god, how cringe they're matching, you know.
Yeah.
They're gonna judge anyway. It's very low vibration. Someone who judges, it does not feel good in the body. Like if you're someone who meditates or even is on like understanding of your emotions, like judging another person for just being who they are or trying to do a good thing is really poisoning your body. But like if you think about accepting everybody as they are, it's a really good vibration in the body. So I always just say like they just seep in their own poison anyway. And then like the last one is failures. Like what if I fail? And you have to just always say like, so what? So what if I fail? Like you think about every person that obviously like had a talk or a business, they had to start somewhere, whether there's one person in the class or no people in the class, like at least you started and at least you did something, and you're always going to learn. So like failure is always just going to be feedback. Like it's such a famous saying, but it's so cliche, but at the same time it's like when you feel a lot, like feel like before I started this, I'd be like, oh my god, what if nobody comes to my class, or what if nobody comes to my thing? Plenty of times nobody, not one person has come to my class, and I've still like put it up and put it out there. Because when it's like rejection therapy, right? You're like, right, put it out there, no one actually came, and then you're like, what actually happened? Nothing really. I learned something. I learned that my marketing isn't good, I need to fix something, or I just need to be better in my communication. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. And then the people that judge you for like for having like nobody there or like nobody in your class, like they're just sleeping on their own poison anyway. So just fucking go for it. Just go.
Like, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that was so good for everyone, because I just think there's so much noise out there. And I just think we need these little reminders, even for me. It's like, just keep going, like keep going for it. And especially when things can feel harder, and the first thing that starts to slip in your business is your mindset, because you're like, oh my gosh, everything can become your identity as well, and things can just link so much to you. I really want to talk about meditation because I talk about it so much. But what actually got you into meditation, and why do you recommend it so much?
Um, well, obviously I've read a lot of books, and I've read a lot of books of a lot of successful people and autobiographies. And the word meditation just constantly came up, and it came up a lot when I was having trouble with my mental health. It came up from doctors, therapists, but really never felt that connected to that. You know, I'd stuff like hadn't really. I think I tried it once when a therapist recommended it, and like obviously wasn't taught correctly, so just stopped doing it. Right, it felt uncomfortable, so I just stopped doing it because I was like, oh, I can't do it. I can't meditate. It's not for me. Blah 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 blah. So then I started meditating properly when I can't even remember what year it was or anything, probably like 2020. Before that, I would say around COVID. No, I meditated before that. I did my course in COVID. Yeah, so I did it in 2020, I think. So like a year or two before that, I was started meditation. I went to these classes. I booked myself in because I was like, I'm sick of hearing this. I need to see what this is all about. And like the first few meditations, I remember just hating them and just being like, no, I can't meditate. I can't do it. But also then I went and got a proper teacher. And with a proper teacher, you learn how to meditate properly. And then after like 3 weeks, now I'm someone who in my and what year was that? Well, about 18 months, I would say, or 2 years maybe of very, very little sleep, very much insomniac, very much high level anxiety, like heart palpitations, like my skin was really bad, like everything was falling apart because I couldn't sleep and I was waking up every day and I had so much adrenaline because I was so anxious. The same cycle would continue all the time. There was just lots of negative thoughts and just the same cycle continuing until obviously I found meditation. And over time, like if you're already in high anxiety, fight or flight for a long period of time, you're not gonna get out of that in your first session. Maybe after like 3 weeks of doing it consistently. That's why we do like 21-day courses and stuff, because that will eventually get your nervous system to calm down. All right. But then once your nervous system's calmed down, you're already calm. So then you can just like top up as you go. You don't have to like constantly be trying to get your nervous system down. But once I got that nervous system sorted, got the mind in check, started rewiring my thoughts through, like, I was doing a life coaching course at the time. So everything was just like bright again. And I slept every single night since for 8 hours. Like, I go to bed, I sleep no problem. I used to wake up in the middle of the night. I used to wake up at 4 a.m. and I used to wake up 4 a.m. My eyes would be dry and they would be so sore because I would be like so tired and I couldn't sleep because my heart was beating so fast. But anyway, so after this like 3 or 4 weeks of meditation, I would say around 3 months of meditating properly and like, at the start, trying to get into it, whatever. And then obviously understanding meditation after like 3 months, that was it. I felt complete peace. I felt a peace in myself when I closed my eyes that I can't explain. And it's really hard to explain to anyone because you have to just meditate to understand. Like it was like nothing mattered on the outside world anymore because I can close my eyes and everything's going to be okay. And I'm okay with myself. Like I rewired all my thoughts. I made sure I stopped those negative thought patterns like within the meditation. Because when you meditate in the day, you think that, oh yeah, it's only 15-20 minutes, but you're literally meditating throughout the day because you're stopping thoughts coming into your mind. You're going, oh God, where's that thought coming from? No, that doesn't serve me. I'm going to remove that thought. And I'm going to think of more empowering thoughts. So taking away those disempowering thoughts. And I was just like, how the hell is this not taught in schools? And how the hell do we not know this tool? Why are you giving, like I went to the doctors and they were trying to give me beta blockers, antidepressants. And I didn't say, I was this close to saying yes and I didn't. Because I actually remember asking on Instagram and they were like, please don't do this, don't go down this route. I was like, okay, that's fine, I'm not going to do that, which thank God. And obviously after time of doing that, I was like, oh my God, like people need to know this. But the only thing was that meditation was so outdated. Like when I was training, we were training Vedic, we were training mantra, like very outdated versions of meditation, whilst meditation really is being one pointed on one thing and concentrating on one thing. So you can meditate on a lot of different things and in a lot of different ways. So obviously in our meditation courses, we do like obviously lots of transformational, lots of visualization, lots of breath, like lots of things. It's going to keep you concentrated and our generation concentrated and fun and exciting, Like you want to go into that meditation being like, oh my God, what is she gonna come up with today? What question is she gonna ask me? And that's why I went and trained in all different types of things like hypnotherapy and like NLP, just to like kind of mix everything off to try and get the best of everything. And honestly, just people loved it. They loved getting a brand new meditation every day. Some people love the same meditation every day, but like, I like to bring out new ones all the time. And I just was like, so excited that we could finally rebrand meditation and make it cool and make it exciting, and then hopefully people could just start to understand themselves more and find themselves and find who they truly are so they can reach their full potential. And like I will be teaching meditation on my deathbed. Like I will there's nothing that can stop me. Like I do my wee classes here, I do them on the beach, I do them if someone says, oh, can you, I'm like, yeah, any day to get anyone into meditation, and it makes me so excited when people put up their hand and say, oh, I've never meditated before. Like I'm so like I get so happy that they're just in there for the first time. So yeah, it's just a magical thing that every single person needs to do, and it needs to be in schools. I know it's in schools now, but I hope it's hard because like teachers are trying to teach it and they're not meditation teachers either. But hopefully there's going to be big changes in the future because it's a superpower.
100%. And if
do you
you've got
meditate?
anything to do with it, yes, I do. It's come on a big journey with me, actually, meditation. So I come from like a corporate career in sales from 16 to 22, and then at 22 I finally, after COVID everything, I was like, no, I need to finally get out of here and go traveling. But I had always been quite a party girl, out every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then my family are big partiers, everything. So then when I went traveling, I was like, what, there's other things other than just partying. Like I'd started to get into a bit of meditation at home, and then it just opened up a whole new world. Like I hit a real rock bottom from partying. I had a bad breakup. I just had a lot go on where basically I got to Bali, and the day I got here I was in a big bike accident, had everything stolen, and it was just all
oh my god, me
traumatic.
too.
What?
Our journeys. Oh my god, I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It's
bike
crazy.
accident, stolen. It happens in threes in Bali. Just comes quick.
Oh my gosh. And then I had Bali belly, but anyway. But what was really weird was when I was in Vietnam, I'd booked to go to this self-love retreat, and I was like, I don't know what is calling me there. I've never done anything like this, and it was, a big investment for a 22-year-old. And I was just like, I just have to go to that in 2 months. And then the day after the bike accident, I went into this retreat. Obviously had no phone or anything, and I've never been so connected to my intuition. I've never had like that mental clarity. It was basically like this voice saying to me, like, you have two options here. Like, if you carry on the partying, drinking, you're literally going to die. Like, it was that serious. Or if you actually decide that you want a different route in life, you're going to have everything rewarded to you. Like, cut that one thing out, not forever, but for that period, it was saying you need to cut it out. And everything changed. I feel like I, was meditating every day. I had such a like mindset that I wanted to help people. Had it booked to move to Australia. I was like, maybe I'll become a personal trainer. I don't know. But, and it was just like, you just have no idea. But the more that you can allow yourself to connect with your intuition through meditation, through all of these amazing things we have now, it's like, you just don't know. And then I literally thought, all of a sudden I'm here with a business and a podcast, and like, what the hell?
I know. I always say like your body and your mind is your bestie when it comes to like your intuition and like or listen to yourself. Like we have a meditation called Your Body is Your Bestie, and it's basically like training your mind to look out for how you feel throughout the day. So like, because you're like a lot of the time we're running on like complete autopilot, and then when you start to stop and like tune into introspective, like you can even feel your body and your energy just like crumbling when you're around people who are like obviously like negative, or they're like bad energy, and then like you can feel yourself light up when we're talking to each other. So we've got like-minded things, so we would light up. Maybe you would light up listening to like my podcast, or you'd light up reading a book, and your body is just like, hi, over here, over here, over here, and like something. And then there's periods of time where I'm like, oh my god, let's drink margaritas until the day is dead, but then there's times where no, my body is like, no, the taste of it I couldn't even put out my mouth, because like sometimes we need to go in and out of those periods of our life to just like, sometimes we need to full relax and we need to have our margaritas and go out with the gals. And then sometimes I'm like, no, I need to tune in, and I've work to do here. I've work to just like do for the universe, and like you just gotta fucking tune in. Oh, I love that. I love the sound of that self-love retreat.
Yeah.
How long was it?
It was really good. It was for 6 days, and it was really, really good. I mean, it's 26 girls, so if I was to go to one now, that's a lot of energy. But I started doing my own retreats as well from it, and it's just so special being able to bring people together.
Yeah.
I think you would be a role model for that as well with the retreat side of things. Because I know that you do them and stuff, and it's just amazing. I did actually want to speak to you around dreaming big, because I think so many people struggle to really dream, or like, the thought of having a really big dream really scares them, or it's like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. But I think you've been such a good role model of just going for it and just doing the things that scare you. So what advice would you give to people there?
It's crazy, because if you would have asked me 5 years ago, what I would be doing. It's mad because I really did like manifest it, but I never thought that I would ever have this. But at the same, like when I was manifesting it years ago, I would be like, oh yeah, like whatever. Like in my brain would also not believe me. But obviously that's probably why it took me like 6 years to get there. Over time, you know, you start to believe in yourself, because obviously if I just say, right, that's gonna happen, it's not gonna happen, because you have to have those little tiny bits of evidence throughout the way to get to where you are. So like every time I did something, I was like, oh, maybe I could do it a little bigger. Maybe I could do another thing. And then like it just gets bigger. So you're not just gonna go from like nothing to like standing on stage with like 5,000 people, you know? So it's like you have to just work your way up to feeling like worthy of it. And like it's hard to, and there is people that I know that are just, they have that worthy brain and they are on that stage straight away, you know? But like I think it, like I'd be like, oh, dream big, but I feel like even though I dreamt big, I still wasn't really believing there. I couldn't get there until there was other little bits of evidence. So that's why it's like, okay, I'm gonna like do something with like 10 people, and then it's 20 people, 30 people, 50 people, like, and then you just be like, okay, gosh, people like this and there's good feedback, and like, yeah, right. Then you start to believe in yourself a little bit more, and then it just gets bigger and better, and then all of a sudden you're just fucking there and you're like, what the hell?
100%.
Like how did I get here? It's just like tiny little steps that it's, I know, and like limited, I always say limited goals creates limited lives. Like what do you want? Just write it down, have fun with it. And like you think, oh, if I don't get it, I've wrote it down, it's a bit of crack, whatever. And like just put it in your vision board, put it in your things, and then all of a sudden if it's something sitting in front of you, be like, oh well, how could I get that? You know, like could I maybe do this time? Like I just feel like role models was really important. Like if I'm
Hmm.
starting something new, I go search for role models. Like if I start, like when I started the app, I was like, oh God, okay, I don't even know how many people would sign up or whatever. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go look around and see people who have like I was looking at girls over here in Australia that they have like a fitness app, and I was like, oh my God, look how many subscribers they have, or like look how many things. I was like, wow, it's totally possible to have that life and to feel fully fulfilled and to also be like financially abundant as well. And I'm like, if you look at someone else, sometimes that really helps. I do that in my meditations as well. I'd be like, right, think of someone, like think of a dream that you have, think of all the limiting beliefs that you have around that. Um, say them out loud, your disempowering beliefs, like, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, I don't have enough time. Like say them out loud, then change those disempowering beliefs to like more empowering beliefs, like I have time if I make time, blah, blah, blah. You start to, I have all these new ones. And then you say, okay, someone who's similar to you who also has done it. Because realistically, if someone has done something similar before, then why can't you do it if you have the recipe? If they have the recipe, then you need to just follow it. So yeah, there's so many ways, but just when you believe in yourself, like the quicker you do, the easier it is. All right. Sometimes it takes you a while, but I just think start and just go for it. Start small, work your way up. Some people are like dream big, but I'm like dream big, but also like climb up.
100%. Like I just started a YouTube channel, right? And I'm just like, I don't care if it has like one view for the next 3 years, but I'm just gonna keep going with it and just have fun. And I just think sometimes we feel like I think a lot of the girls that I work with or work online feel like they're seeing girls earning like 5 grand a month straight away and like then comparing themselves, where it's like that it's just so unrealistic, and like actually that's taking you away from actually enjoying it. So I'm so like, just have fun, like honestly. And I think the little things, like for me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do so many things that get out my comfort zone, especially while traveling. Like, I'm bloody going to surfing lessons and falling on my face a million times. And like, things like that are building my confidence so much, because each time I go, you're getting better and better. So it's the same as like, I'm still falling on my face, but just going for it. And I just feel like taking the pressure off the metrics, off the success, and actually just enjoying it again and knowing that that's going to come if you keep showing up. And I just feel like it's such an amazing representation that you are. And I keep having things like pop up that I want to ask you about. I wanted to actually ask you as well around like kindness and falling away from maybe the like pressure and the numbers side of business and success, and actually pouring love and kindness into things. How do you feel like you've maybe gone that route instead of falling into the pressure?
I think I learned earlier on that when you get money, it doesn't mean much unless you've had a good time. You know, I've
Yeah.
had things where I've had deadlines where I would roll out of bed in my pajamas and be trying to get things done. And I remember getting the big payout at the end and being like, nah, not doing that again. Not worth it. Like,
Hmm.
and you have to always think as well, like, someone with a lot of money in their bank and someone with no money in their bank could be sitting on the beach there and they're both having the exact same day of happiness. You know, it doesn't really matter. Like, the person, I always say, like, there's a person sitting down there that has quadruple your money and they're a millionaire, but they're also sitting right there because that's where they're happy. So, like, you can also be happy. And I think numbers is also, like, it's really relevant today as well because Instagram and that has changed over time, hasn't it? Like, you have to go, you have to be what do you mean, like, really engaging and like do all the different things on Instagram now. Like, you can't just come on and talk slowly. So you have to rather have viral content or your content is pretty shit. So, like, obviously from someone who went from like that Instagram to different types of like algorithms, you learn pretty quickly that you're never going to get that happiness from the views and the money. It's all about how it makes you feel. And I think, like, we're never really chasing money and success, we're chasing freedom. So, like, usually I always think, like, okay, how can I have a little bit more freedom? And even when or we're doing meditations and I make people do dream day meditations, like, in your dream day, when you ask them what they're doing, like, they usually, like, get up, have a little bit of free time, they do a bit of meditation, yoga, they read. And I'm like, how can we implement your dream day every day? Usually the things that you love and that are in your dream day, you can actually do for free. So if you just try and like implement those, and I think it's important as well, like, when it comes to numbers and money and stuff like that, like, we can get really caught up on trying to be like viral or trying to be engaging and trying to get the numbers and stuff like that. But I always think if you just speak to who you have instead of thinking about growth, I always think, like, speak with kindness, love, and passion to the people that are right in front of you. And usually what happens is you end up growing anyway because you're just trying to help them instead of trying a growth plan or like, you're trying to help those people because those are the people that are going to grow your business because they're going to tell your friends. They're going to tell their
Hmm.
friends and tell their friends. So, like, work on those people right in front of you at all times. And eventually it doesn't even matter because as long as it's purposeful, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. And it is that pressure thing, and that this comes to every stage of life, doesn't it? Of like, finding a boyfriend, partner, relationships, kids, like house, like when it comes to all of the pressures of life, what would you say to someone?
Oh, as in, like, the, like, you know, getting married, having kids, like that kind of pressure, like the success. Like,
Yeah.
when you do you know what's so funny? When I feel like, to my single friends, I'm like, I wish I had more single stories. I wish I had more chaos just for the fucking plot, you know? So enjoy every minute. And I mean, I think it depends where you live. Like, I'm sure you in Bali. How long have you been in Bali?
I've been traveling for 3 months this time. So I was in Thailand
Yeah.
and now in Bali.
And you'll probably notice that when you're around those people, like, there's no real pressure.
No.
Like, everyone is just so unique and different in their own way, and they're kind of just living their own life in those sort of places. Whereas when you're at home, your environment really matters, and there is does feel like pressure. Like, if your friends are having kids, you feel like you should have kids because, like, you want to be like having the same conversations with them, and that's totally natural. But you just got to figure out what works for you and what makes you happy, and that's what meditation is really good for, because most of the time our thoughts are conditioned patterns from our peers and from our family members and our mums and our dads and everything in society, and we just kind of follow. But, like, we need to actually sit with ourselves, take away those thoughts in meditation, because usually what happens in meditation is, like, it's like thought. But, like, obviously when you're telling your thoughts to be quiet, then over time your mind starts to listen. So it's like only every so often there's a thought. But people think, oh, they're shutting their own mind up, but they're actually shutting everyone else up. And then the space is like, oh, does that actually serve me? Do I actually like that? Like, do I
Hmm.
actually like this job? That's kind of like what's more important, isn't it? And, like,
Hmm.
as long as you're happy and you're growing and there's always things to learn,
Hmm.
realistically, yeah, just fucking live your life. It all makes a
Yeah.
fucking great story at the end, doesn't it?
Honestly, and I think like all my clients and my friends say that to me, like, how do you, what what is going on? Like, you're honestly always just doing random stuff and just have so many random stories. And I just think it is so fun to be able to take different parts of you. And, you know, I put myself in the party girl box, and the no, I have to focus on mindset and helping people box. And then now just fully just embracing all of it and just being like, yes, you have so many different parts of you that are so fun, and that you can get your head down when you need to, and then you can go rave it up for 3 days at a festival. Like, whatever
Yeah.
feels good. That might not be someone's ideal life, but for me that's perfect. Like, that's what I enjoy doing. So just bloody having a ball and making the most of it.
Just your
So
inner guidance system is just so important. Like, you know, like years ago, I remember mom and dad telling me like, "Oh Jesus, can you come back from Magaluf and can you start your job and blah blah." But I was like, I can't explain to you. Like, this feels good, and I want to be here. And like for me, I always think that was always my inner guidance system. Like, I found a new way of life that way, and I also found my passion and purpose through all the hardships that I went through. My body was telling me hell yes, even though like there was things happening to me. My body was just always shooting me in the right direction, and everything just felt good. And you know when things don't feel good in your body, like if you're like into intuition and meditation and stuff, and yeah, your inner guidance system is always piping hot, but you just have to shush it up. You have to shush, and then you have to listen, and it usually guides you the whole way.
yeah, and it's just nice to have the simplicity as well on this episode of, like, really just coming back to the basics, like that 10 minutes in the morning. You know, if that's on your dream vision board, go for it. Like, just set yourself up, put out your yoga mat, or like make a little comfy space, like really make it your own. And I just love that so much. When it comes to you now in this phase of life, I would love to know what excites you, what's coming up, and what feels really good for you right now.
Just so funny when I was like, how old are you?
24.
Yeah, because when you're chatting, I'm like, oh, your top values are like freedom and adventure and expansion and growth. And like when I was that age, like that was like all I wanted. There is nothing that could have ever seen me sitting where I am today, like looking forward to going to work and going to my routine and like cooking for my boyfriend. But it's when they're like nothing. That was my main thing. It was like adventure growth, wanted to find who I was, like wanted to do random shit. Like I'm that random person that you would see like going down a mountain on like a random Tuesday, and like that was all my 20s. And that's what people really need to do in their 20s, explore every little bit about them, because you'll notice the people that are in the jobs from like 20 to 30, and like then they have like this big like, oh my god, I want to go to ballet now and I want to do that. Like they do want that, you know, a little bit later in life then if they don't do it. So what excites me is probably the opposite of you right now. What excites me is like my values was that then. And it's mad because obviously I was with Sam a little bit while I was in that stage of my life. I met him when I was 26 or 27. And like I was like adventure, blah, blah. Whereas he was always kind of security, you know, career, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh God, 9 to 5, see you later. Like I can't be dealing with you. And now obviously we're together and I value or like security together. I value our comfort. I value stability and routine. And like it's honestly crazy how you can just shift and then everything just falls into place. And he's got itchy feet. He's like, oh, should we go here? Should we go there? And I'm like, babes, I'm not going anywhere. Like, you know, because he's obviously like did his career first, and then I did crazy like drunk fucking do whatever you want in your 20s. And now I'm more like but obviously I feel like I'm very purpose driven as well. Like I'm so lucky to have my purpose business. um so what excites me is expansion in life, more people understanding meditation in a fun way, expanding my business, having a family, getting married, having kids, like all that. Like that's what really, really excites me. And I can't wait to be a mom, and I can't wait to be Sam's wife one day, although I'm not engaged. But you know, I feel like that's what really makes me really happy, you know. And I'm so happy I did all this other stuff, because now that made me appreciate like where I am today. And like you're gonna be there when you're like 30, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm done living out of the suitcase now. Like I feel like I
Yeah.
was at my last bit when I was like 29, was 28
Yeah.
or 20, yeah, 29 was kind of, or no, well really 30 was my last living out of a suitcase. Like I really got my first lease at 30. So yeah, but then obviously you can go on your holidays then. It's different.
Yeah, honestly, it's like you can see I just realised my suitcase is behind me. You do get, I feel like I've been literally moving around every like 3-4 days for the last 3 months. And I'm coming to Oz next month because I was a nanny there when I was setting up my business. And the family were like, can you just come stay with us? We miss you. So it's so like exciting that I was living in Noosa. So I'm so excited that I get to go
Oh,
back
so cute.
there
Are you gonna
and
come to
just think,
Sydney?
yeah, definitely. I'm gonna come probably for a weekend because there's a few girls that I'm like good friends. I feel like loads of friends from online as well that I'd love to come
Yeah.
see. So come to the yoga. No,
Oh my god,
the
yes, come to
meditation.
everything. Yeah, come to everything. There's lots to do
Yeah,
here. You'll love it. You'll probably end up here one day, I would say. You sound like
yeah. I mean,
you'd love it here.
I lived in Noosa and Byron Bay while I was like studying and going through my midlife crisis at 22 and like set everything up. And then when I come back, I'm coming back for 3 months and then I'm doing a retreat in Spain that I'm hosting that I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like, I saw this villa on Airbnb and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, can I actually do that? And I was like, you just got to do it. Come on.
Fuck
So
it. I always say just
fuck
part
it.
with your money. Like I always say, like if I lose 10 grand on this, like I lose 10 grand. Like whatever. Like I've had nothing before. Fuck it. Do it. You have to like go in with that attitude, and then it just works out. And if you lose it, you lose it, and if you don't, you
Yeah.
don't.
100%. And I just think I can't wait to look back and think, oh my gosh, you just did all this crazy stuff, like, like you say, in your 20s, and just letting go. Because I feel like from a young age, like I was working in sales and it was so serious, and everyone, I was 16 and everyone was in their 40s, and I was like, did it for 6 years where I was in that London hustle culture. And then at 22, I was like, no, like, what are we doing? Like, we need to actually go be in our 20s. So I feel like, and then when I went traveling, I had a boyfriend and I was so like, all of that. So I feel like this trip for me is literally like, just be in your 20s, like just have fun and just enjoy it. And thank you for just being such a good example of that, and not, with like the clean girl aesthetic that we talk about these days, it is very like, just go to your gym classes and drink your green juices, which is great. But it's also like, what about the freedom? What about letting go? What about saying yes and doing crazy things?
I know because the clean girl aesthetic does get to me. Sometimes I'd be like, God, maybe I should clean up my content and stop being so. Maybe I should like put a bit of makeup on to do this podcast. But then I'm just like, I think as well, like other people being in their true selves can be very, very inspiring as well. Like I actually remember reading a book, and I don't know if you've read this book, but it's by Daniela Moyles. Do you know her?
No.
She had a very similar journey. Like well, hers is a bit different, but I remember reading her book and I felt really heard and seen because she was just like, I was in a world like, which I felt like I was in a world of like, everyone dressing up, looking nice, makeup, hair, everything. And she was like, and I never was that, but I pretended to be that. And then one day just obviously, came back from my travels and I was like, no, I want to wear like a really baggy white dress and have my hair frizzy and have no makeup. And like I've lived that way ever since. And I remember
Mhm.
being like, that's me. I am such a casual gal. Like I hate getting dressed up because like it hurts me because I, I don't like wearing tight stuff. I like being loose and just being, yeah, I guess
Absolutely.
myself. And then that really spoke to me and I was like, why am
Yeah.
I trying to put on like a fucking winged eyeliner on a Tuesday? Like fucking just go
Mhm.
outside, you're fine. And like you realize that it's so empowering that people meet you where you're at when you're authentically you and they meet you back, and it's just like it's empowering and it's nice to see that other people also be
Mhm.
inspired by that authenticness. And like, but you know what, the clean girl aesthetic does get to me sometimes. Like sometimes I will be like taking in content and I'll be like,
Yeah.
do I need a Dior bag? Like it's mad, like the way that your mind thinks when you're consuming it. You're like, oh god, maybe I do need
Mhm.
that, maybe I need that. And there's things that we cave to and we're fucking human, and there's things that
Yeah.
are experiences that are amazing. But
Mhm.
also like when you buy something that you think, oh, I feel like you can feel it in your body, can't you? You're like, oh, I just got fucked over, that was capitalism there, took me
Mhm.
and it got me, and you learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's nice. Yeah, I guess it's nice when people are themselves, so then it can show you that you can be yourself.
Yeah. And you reminded me of one thing you said around like, I'm like fangirling. It's like one
Mhm.
thing you said on the podcast around like people's bodies, and if you were in a group of or in a room and everyone was in bikinis, you would not care about other people's bodies, so why do we do it to ourselves? And I went to a fitness retreat like 10 days ago in Uluwatu, and everyone was from the Gold Coast, and I love them all so much, but everyone has the most perfect outfits, you know, the same as when I was in the retreat 2 years ago. I had a backpack and I had cuts all up me, and everyone come in all clean girl aesthetic, and I literally come in with my bandages and like, you know, like nothing, just the passport and my backpack. And it was that like me having to really accept that, you know, I used to be all the extensions and big lashes, and it's like, no, I'm happiest when I've got my crazy hair, when I'm literally in a little bikini and just being my stupid self and not trying to fit in the box. So it catches me out, it catches so many people out, and it's like the more people that, I hope anyone listening who feels that pressure can actually be like, do you know what, love you for you, like have fun with it and just enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's attractive. Like, it's so attractive being so confident in your own skin as well. Like, there's you could see the most gorgeous girl you've ever seen in your entire life, and she could be so insecure and so like broken from the way she thinks in her own mind. And while she could see someone who is literally the most confident, authentic person, and like her energy just lights up this whole room, you know? And it's like you also have to realize that like what you were saying there before is really quite interesting, and it's nice to dive into it. Like what you said about the bikini was on my retreats, I would just get into a bikini like first thing that I would do, and I would be like, do you care what I look like to the people? Because I know that if they're coming to a sunny retreat, that they're going to be worried about what they look like. But I firstly am the first person who just takes off my clothes and goes, do you care what I look like, just to make sure that, and they'll be like, well, no. I'm like, exactly, because I know you think that we care what you look like, or like, you know, we don't, like, we never look around and think that. But then also, you said there about the people on the Gold Coast, and I said, seen, I like, we chat about this in book club all the time, like body image and stuff like that comes up, and they'd be like, oh, I just don't fit in here because of like all these girls and all their bodies, and I'm like, but you actually just have thought yourself into thinking that you don't fit in here because you have ingrained in you but a body that's perfect, and that body is not yours. Whilst another person could, like, a person could come over from a completely different country, and like your body could be attractive to them, and their body and these other perfect bodies could not be attractive to them. So it's like how you think about that person and how you perceive what this perfect body is. And it's about becoming aware that our bodies are not the problem. It's how we think about our bodies and others that is the problem. And it's because society and marketing and capitalism told us to look a certain way, be a certain way. So then we internalize that. But like, it's okay, I think, to understand that we are going to feel that way. We feel like that is the perfect body. But we have to remember that society made that flaw in us and not us being born into it. Because I can understand that I have insecurities, but I also understand that I was born amazing and beautiful. But society, the projection of society, made me think that a different way was more beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, I'm going off on a real tangent, but I just want people to recognize that sometimes we think, oh no, I wish I looked like that, but it's society that makes us think like that. And sometimes it's okay as long as we're aware that it's society, and we don't think, oh, our bodies are horrible. We were born like this and it's horrible and like it's not good enough. Like, society made us feel like it's not good enough, and we can work through it if we become aware of that, basically, which is important. If you get what I mean. I was off on a tangent there. I had a point, I swear.
And it's so true. And like, you know, maybe for the girls listening, I know a lot of people are traveling or, you know, moved abroad. It's a massive shift going from the UK and Ireland, where you're never in a bikini really, to all of
Yeah.
a sudden, you know, your body's out, you're wearing gym shorts rather than leggings and hoodies, like, and everything, and then all of a sudden being like, oh my gosh. So it's just exactly what you said, like, you have the power again, and there's always going to be insecurities that come up, isn't there? But when you are able to notice them, and then, you know, things like meditation come in, and you're able to notice how you're speaking to yourself. Because even for me, the last week, I've had to really go a bit deeper into how I've been speaking to myself after that retreat, on like, you know, you don't need all the perfect clothes right now. And like, I was going into Bali boutiques and thinking, oh my gosh, do I need to buy loads of new gym stuff? And it's like, come on, we're not,
Actually,
you
sure.
know.
Sometimes we get caught, but you know, sometimes we just. And the worst thing is, I would go and buy them. I'd be like, right, okay, now I really want that because she's got that, and I really want. And then I wear the same thing then every day. I buy all the nice clothes, and then they're sitting in the wardrobe, and I just wear what's comfortable. You know?
Yeah.
Sure.
100%. Oh, well, I have had the most beautiful time with you. Thank you so
But I've
much.
just had a wonderful time. Thank you so much. And like that little letter at the beginning, like that really got me. So I just want to say, God, that thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Honestly, I will screenshot and send it to you because it's
Oh my
just
God, I would
so
love that.
straight from the heart, my girl. I think it's just nice because that it made me think as well because I've really wanted to have you on the podcast, and it's just being able to share the impact, and it's been so special. So, do you have any last words?
Last words. Oh, you can find me at Sinead Heg
Yeah.
and the Braveway, or Sinead Says Pod.
Amazing. What I'll do, we'll get the lovely Leah, so my podcast manager, to add all of your links. So you have the Brave Way meditation course, your Instagram, the podcast, the Sinead Says podcast. I'm like, I got you, I know it all.
Love that.
So listen, go follow her if you don't already, and if you are interested in meditation, her course is amazing. So yes, thank you so
Oh,
much for coming on, my
thank
girl.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode on the Your Girl Yaz podcast. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 a.m. UK time, so I look forward to seeing you back here. I also have a free higher self meditation course for you to learn to meditate, to relax, to switch off, that's available for you to access now in the show notes. And also, don't forget to follow the podcast wherever you're listening, rate, leave us a review. I appreciate it way more than you could ever know. Thank you so much again for listening. If you've got any feedback of the podcast, my Instagram at Yasmin Lily Hilston is also linked in the show notes, and I really appreciate it.